I saw that. I mean, look, we've all kind of talked about this, and it's been reported a little bit. And then Adam Schefter was writing about it at ESPN.com this morning. The NFLPA and the NFL have had discussions at a, quote, very high level, close quote, over potentially adding an 18th game to the regular season. NFLPA Executive Director Lloyd Howell told the Washington Post, "We have talked at very, very, very high levels superficially with a recognition about, yeah, this is something that we should talk about. We should really kick the tires and understand what else goes into the decision-making process." Howell told the Post, "Where does the 18th game come from? I think the foregone conclusion is, well, you just grab it. Like in what otherwise would be a preseason game in August. You play it forward. But there are details that really need to be fleshed out. Again, there are other economic, health, and safety matters that also need to be clear to our members before there's ever an agreement about an 18th game." So they have not had any sort of formal negotiations, but it's been discussed at the absolute highest levels. And you can believe that to be Roger Goodell and some other top leadership groups within the NFL offices in Manhattan and the NFLPA. It is coming, my friend. That
we know that.
That much is sure.
We know
and
that.
then can we stop there? Is 18 good?
I think 18's a pretty solid number
Yeah,
right there.
I think so, too.
I think 18 is a solid number. Takes your Super Bowl a week further, 2 games. You are looking at now February 28th.
Yes.
7th, 6th,
Yeah, you're going
5th,
way into February. Yeah.
Shortens the time between the Super Bowl and March Madness.
Sure does, Jurko.
I don't mind that.
Super Bowl Sunday this year was on Feb 11.
Yeah.
Right?
So you go 25th.
Yeah, I mean, that's
2 weeks, it would be the 25th. 1 bye week, right?
That's what we're talking
And
about.
an extra
here.
game.
You're getting into President's Day weekend like everybody's always wanted. If not even, I mean, like it's. And then I think you stop. I think 18, you can't play this sport. You can't play too many more games. It's too physical. It's too hard on the body. It's.
Well,
don't you think?
And the thing with the players, now that you've got 18, I want to see the active roster increase to 48.
I think you got to do that.
Yeah, 48, and then you increase your other roster to, instead of 53 players that are on the active roster, you increase it up to 58.
Yeah.
So you get 5 more roster spots to include, and then, you got 3 from 45 to 48, including the third quarterback, that can be active on game day.
It's a long season, man, at 18 games. I'm just saying. It is. I know we all love football. Right? Like we do. We love it.
And now they allow 2 guys to come back from injured reserve, right?
Yes, they do.
They allow 2. Maybe then you include maybe a third guy you could bring back from injured reserve.
Yeah, you can be designated to return.
Right.
Where it used to be in the old days, you went on injured reserve.
I got hurt in
season was over.
97. Right? They put me on injured reserve. My year was up.
Your season's over.
Done. I was ready to go in 6 weeks. So I got hurt early, 3rd week of the season. By the 10th week of the season, I was ready to go.
Why do you think they did that?
Because we had number problems.
Okay.
And we had a couple guys banged up. And I told Coughlin when he told me, hey, this is what we plan on doing. I go, the problem is I'm going to be healthy week 10.
Right.
I go, and you're not going to be able to utilize me. And that's not bad as long as nothing happens with the rest of the guys.
Right.
The problem was Kelvin Pritchett tore his ACL. Don Davey tore his ACL.
Jeez.
And then you want to talk about throwing guys into the fire. Seth Payne was a rookie. Ronaldo Wynn was a rookie. Jose White we brought out of nowhere. I forget who the other guys we had playing on the inside at that point. And they went to play Denver, and we gave up 300 and some yards rushing against the Denver Broncos.
Terrell Davis?
In a playoff game. It was everybody. Terrell Davis. It was Mike
300
Anderson.
yards rushing?
Orlando Gary. Yeah, I'll look at it. 97. Wow. So those 2 other guys, starting defensive tackles, got busted up, and there you go. What do you do then? You do nothing. You've got to play who you've got to play.
That's why the designated to return is kind of nice.
Yes.
Which didn't always used to be there.
And now those other 2 guys wouldn't have been able to return, but you would have had a veteran defensive lineman in there.
The only thing I'll say is, again, like we all love football.
Of course we do.
18 games is a lot. It's a long season. This sport is, dare I say, harder on the body and the athlete than any other.
Oh, it's tough.
Regardless of the rules changes and everything else. Like, it is a brutally violent physical sport. And the unintended consequence here is like what we've seen in the flow of the season or seasons in the last couple of years. Now, maybe in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't really matter. Like, well, Carmen, who cares if the football is good or not in September or October? But I feel like we complain about it a lot. It sure feels like you are pushing meaningful football deeper and deeper into the year. Maybe that doesn't really matter. As long as it's good in December and January and February, I guess that's what matters most. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of hand-wringing as there is. I'm probably sometimes guilty of it. Like, what are we watching here? This is terrible. These teams aren't prepared. They're not ready to play. And it's only going to put, like, you talk about a ramp up. Like, we might not get the level of football we want to get, which we were used to getting in September, until December now. Does that matter to you? 312-332-3776. Because that's the unintended consequence of all of it. It is.
Do you guys want more football?
Yes.
Now that they went to 17, Chris, to me it seems like you should go to 18 to balance it out. I don't need any more than that, though. If you never went to 17, would I have been happy? I would have been happy.
I could.
But football's great with 16 games.
If you told me one preseason game and then 18 games in the regular season, I'd be okay with
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that,
good.
too.
I'm
one
good.
preseason game, get it over with, move it along. College football teams, they start their seasons with big-time games.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, some schools start with a directional school you've never heard of, but for the most part, a lot try and face off against someone in the opening weekend to make a statement. So I'm cool with it. And Jurko, as a player, could you have been prepared for just a start date?
Yeah, like
without preseason games?
It's a good question. Could you have physically done that, you think?
I would. Yeah, of course you could. You
could.
can get yourself physically in shape, beating up on each other.
Okay.
You
So
lose
you
your
can do
legs.
it.
You can get your soreness in. You can get everything that you need. Absolutely, you can do it without an exhibition game.
Okay.
The reason they had exhibition games was so all the money went into the owners' pockets, and they paid the players, very little for
Very
the week.
little, right.
And all the money went in, so it created some cash flow for the owners. That's why they love the exhibition games. I've got the numbers, Carm.
Okay.
31 rushes, 184 yards for Terrell Davis. Derek Lavelle, 11 rushes, 103.
Oh, my God.
Vaughn Hebron, 6 rushes for 23. 5 touchdowns, it looks like. Rushing.
They could have used Johnny Handsome that day.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? That's the way it ended up working out. It was 210 total yards, 520 yards of offense. 500 yards of offense. The game was 42-17. It was a massacre. The year before we beat them, the year after they dominated us.
Courtney Cronin is going to join us coming up. She had to push back a little bit here because they were doing some press conferences up at Hallis, and she was listening into those. She'll fill us in on the day's news post-Bears training camp practice coming up.